By the way, how do I do it?
Okay, let's go.
Yes. I can get the fingerprint and I can...
Okay, it's at the bottom.
Great. So we are basically now down to workable size.
Sign this all the way. In order to sign my key? Or you need a fingerprint to compare? Okay.
Balthasar has set up a mailing list here. This one.
I think can't see like the beginning of the beginning of the end.
Ah, okay. The N is not there.
Yeah.
Like that. So how that works, if you want to, I mean, the idea of that mailing list is basically to continue to exchange ideas there, and it's more of a bootstrapping thing because maybe, I mean, there's the idea to also just set up a GitHub project to actually list interesting existing projects and interesting project ideas, so that people who want to join basically in doing things or discussing things can use that to orient. And unless, I mean, I don't know if there is, do you know of any sites that actually try to list all currently? I mean, Prison Break, for example, is something that lists applications.
You want more something for developers?
Yes, more developer oriented and basically like ongoing hacking projects that try to do something. I mean, I know, for example, about, I don't know, have you heard of this project? VolCC. I think it's just announced since, I don't know, 2-3 weeks or something like this. It's a peer-to-peer social networking project, and it basically is implemented. It's implemented in Go, and it produces a standalone executable that is an endpoint for a browser. So you can just point your browser to it, and you can just put it onto OS X or Windows or Linux. So it's very cross-platform, and it's standalone, so you don't need to like install pip setup tools to. And then you actually point a browser to it, and when you publish a message on this social networking site, then it stores it in the local node, and then that local node actually sends it to other interested nodes who also have a browser attached, and then you can actually see it just like in a normal. I think they have a nice web interface, so it's an interesting architecture, I think, for this kind of application. And there's some other projects, I think, I mean, some I mentioned in my talk on Monday, and I'm sure there are others. I mean, some people mentioned here earlier on today that the one about, what was it? No, it was, is it here? BitTorrent Sync, for example. And I think there's a number of other projects that are currently ongoing that would be interesting. So what I would be interested in is actually having a GitHub project, which basically is currently just on a bunch of text files that gets maybe turned into a web page, like using restructured text or something, that has a project and then a description and a link to it, basically. So just kind of like a directory of currently ongoing projects, an index.
Sounds somehow like a wiki.
Yes, but I don't know. I mean, the problem I have with wikis is usually that, I mean, GitHub, something like this, is very easy to use my own like local environment, you know, just type something, use my local tools, and then I basically submit it to someone who...
For writing content like such lists or something.
Yes. I mean, wikis are also nice, of course.
We can use the GitHub pages, so we can put, like make a website and
Yes.
put it on GitHub.
Yes. That was what I was thinking. I mean, a project directory, basically. You think? I mean, it's not like I have not really a program or something. So I really, even though I'm standing here and I have the microphone, I don't really intend this to be like a front thing or so. So it's basically also bouncing some ideas, and I personally like this idea of getting a bit of a better overview of interesting projects that are ongoing. Because on GitHub there's something like how many 3 million projects, as far as I know, or 3 million repositories, which probably also are partly forks of other stuff, so it's not maybe not unique projects, I don't know. But it's a lot, so it's not so easy these days, like it was like 10 years ago, to actually find stuff that's interesting and that people are doing already.
We should ask intelligence.
You should ask what?
Intelligence agencies.
Yes, they should have an overview. If they probably have an overview. Yes, okay, so I mean, do we just do a nothing to hide GitHub thing to just keep it the same?
Yeah, you can do the organization. Like you make an organization at GitHub, and you can ask as a member. It gives us the commit access, for example.
Yeah, I think that the GitHub is in this way better than Bitbucket, because correct me if I'm wrong, with the Bitbuckets, you have as many repos as you like for an organization, but as you get more than 5 members, you pay. And on GitHub,
I think we should check it, because maybe it applies only when you have maybe it applies only to private repositories. Like
oh yes, that's a private thing. So,
I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
like on Bitbucket, you have unlimited number of private repositories, but
Yes.
you can only have 5 team members that have access to the private
Yes.
repositories.
Okay.
And if you want to have more, you should either invite someone so you can get few extra, or you have to pay.
I see. But I mean, if you're not out to do a private repository, it's not really an issue, right?
I think it is, but GitHub is a good idea because we can get the hosting for free. There is
Of the pages, yes. Oh, yeah, fine.
There's that library called Jekyll that they use to render the pages. So we can use this and
Yes. I mean, I would be very happy if somebody sets this up, because I'm not that familiar with GitHub. I'm more like so far I've just used projects, or maybe did a little fork or so, but not really set up things. So we could actually just, I mean, try to do that now. I don't know. I mean, it's a bit the question. I mean, let's maybe first ask. I mean, what would you like to do actually? I mean, I would like to talk about these kind of like what to do after the conference. So like this GitHub and the mailing list, and then take it from there. But also we can like use the time right now to actually discuss some things, or
Yeah, that's the goal.
yes, I mean that's a bit of a question of what we want. I mean, I would like to light web. Oh yeah. I mean, we can also just collect stuff that we in this room currently know and put it in this Etherpad, and that can then you know, you can just go to this URL up there and just add things that you know right now, and then somebody can just like transfer this to restructured text on. Do you use restructured text on GitHub usually, or?
I think the Jekyll is for Markdown.
Only,
I'm
okay.
not sure whether you can use
Yes.
restructured text.
Anyway, it's not such a big difference actually.
However, there are libraries that you can configure to emit
Yes.
the files in the way that you can use them on GitHub pages.
Yes.
I know one, it's called NanoC, but it's a Ruby library. You configure it to apply some filters, and it then outputs the web page.
Yeah, I'm fine to just go with something simple. I mean, for now, whatever actually works. So, I mean, let's if you go to this Etherpad, then you can just start adding projects. So we basically have an initial list. Yes.
nothing to hide is free yet. Like there's no organization on GitHub called nothing to hide.
Yes. But do you think we should like really do an organization already? I mean.
That's the best way to add access for many people on GitHub. When you create the organization, you can add other people, and they can manage the repositories, because you can add them as the owners. If you like to create a user on GitHub, everyone to create, for example, a new repository, you have to give the password for that user someone you trust.
Sure. Yes.
Maybe one idea, the organization could have this name, nothing to hide. But if we want to make only a documentation project
Yes.
first, maybe it should not take this name, because if we want to work on a software later, maybe the software wants to have that name.
Mm.
Yeah, but when we can reserve it, we can reserve that name anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like a cyber squad name.
No, I just mean, don't give the name to the documentation thing, but rather maybe later for the software. But reserve both maybe.
Mm-hmm. But if you have an organization, nothing to hide, then
That's maybe below
you can still do in repository,
Yeah.
nothing to hide. I mean, I don't currently think that. I mean, I don't really know where this goes, but I would currently just focus it on this kind of project index and idea collection, and have the mailing list to like have a discussion stream. But then, I don't really know if basically this is going to be the hosting umbrella for like actual projects. Maybe, but I would just be happy currently to just have this project index and add things to that, and have maybe the starting content just be put in here. And I mean, if somebody can set up the organization and then put a few people in. I mean, if you write your GitHub things briefly into the Etherpad up here, then Balthazar maybe can just add them. Actually, I don't want to use that, but no, actually, I don't really want.
Don't you have a username?
Yes, I have. Right, exactly. Yes, you're right. I mean, I have just this.
So I haven't seen your.
Yes, so I just switched that actually. Yes. So just add yours, and then he can add to the organization.
I think I'm like.
Stupid.
Like GitHub gave me a 500, and now I'm trying to recreate the organization, but the name is already taken by me.
Okay.
Maybe they have a blacklist for project names.
Oh yes, the NSA is trying to sabotage.
Yeah, but the only agency that listens.
So NSA, nothing to hide.
Yeah, no, it's
and
weird.
Cyberpunks is already taken.
I guess NSA is already taken as an organization.
So let me write you all.
Like how is it taken? There's no such agency.
Yes. Actually, I have on the PyTest channel, our IRC bot is called BND, and BND is the German NSA basically. For connecting.
So should I give you like all the rights for all the things? Like
I would,
first
yes.
And administrative things, so I'm not the owner of anything, because I really don't want to be the owner.
I mean, yes, for now, yes. I mean, we can see how this. I don't really have a clear structure in mind currently. Yes, I mean, let's start like this and.
I really don't want to be like in charge of this.
Yes.
Because there's no point. So. Everyone.
I mean, what I would like to work on is partly motivated by the, I mean, there's, on the one hand, you can just basically list all the existing projects, but they have certain properties. And for me, for example, the property, if a project actually has an open source software stack, is kind of important in that peer-to-peer one. So, for example, SpaceMonkey or Skype, they are peer-to-peer projects, or they used to be. But in terms of the property, is it like transparent open source software? It's
I
not.
think we can just do it that way to not list
Them?
any non-open software.
No, but it's no. I think it's okay to actually list that. Why not? I mean, it's not. It's just about basically understanding what kind of technology is currently used, and
Yeah, but if there is closed source software and it's getting popular and if it has crypto, the NSA is going to force them to put a backdoor in there.
no. Sure, I agree. Yes, I mean that can be basically explained in the explained in the text. But I mean, why hide it? I mean, it's still. I mean, it's interesting to know that Skype at least used to have a peer-to-peer model, and
Anybody familiar with GC?
GITSY? I'm not sure. Just type it. I mean, do you type it in the Etherpad or can you? Okay. Because I don't see it currently. Or just down? No.
Yeah, I don't know where to put it. Because,
Just somewhere in between. It's not really sorted yet. I mean, just put it somewhere where your cursor.
So now everyone can break everything.
Okay.
Okay.
Skype space
this is
monkey.
how the P2P works.
So
Oops. What's that? Ah. Disconnected.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi works strange time to time.
Mm-hmm. Jitsi. No, I don't know about it. What is it about actually? Or you're just typing it.
XMPP chat video. This is like Skype, but it's peer-to-peer. So
Oh, really?
it's open source. And it should support some encryption technologies. I looked into it a long time ago, and I think it's built in Java. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work out of the box, and I didn't have too much patience back then. And I thought, I was actually a bit disappointed because
It sounded good, but
it sounded good, but then I thought, oh, this is just another open source project that is slowly dying, but it looks to me now that it's a bit further evolved.
I see.
So, yeah. By the way, that WebRTC, is it encrypted some way? Or
I don't know if the current support that we have in Firefox and Chrome, what kind of encryption, or if they do encryption. I don't really know.
you can do the SSL, but
No, you can't. I mean, it's really it really depends on what the browsers, how they talk to each other, and if
Yeah.
they exchange keys. Maybe they do what is called a Diffie-Hellman scheme, which guards against passive attacks but not active. But it's basically WebRTC encryption of data.
I heard EuroPython that W3C is going to release a decryption standard, and it will soon be implemented into the browser.
Yes, web crypto. Web crypto it's called.
crypto. So
They just did a new revision of that 2 weeks ago or so.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be used by OTC.
Yes. Yes, I don't know if it's currently like we have the browsers already in there. I don't really know.
well, the simple thing is to just have VPN and then you can use it. But it's not
Sure,
really
but that-
peer-to-peer.
Yes, no.
It's no longer peer-to-peer. Like you have to connect to the VPN server.
Yes. I think, I mean, one of the things is that WebRTC is actually used by, I think here's a list of companies currently building stuff on top of, you know, kind of unknown companies now at the moment. But they're all building stuff on top of WebRTC. And
on your talk you mentioned about that software that you use to like talk with your clients. How much time did it take you to implement?
oh, that's very, I mean, the simplest thing you can do is you just use the publicly available AppRTC, apps.com. And so now I'm here. So you, I mean, I can paste, one of you can actually join, I think not really too many. Where's the Etherpad? Here. So the URL is basically this. If you have a relatively recent like Firefox Beta or Firefox 22 or latest Chrome stable.
The latest Firefox, I read that the latest Firefox supports it.
Yes, exactly, out of the box actually, yes.
Yeah.
So if you go to that, it might work now. I don't really know, it depends, I mean we are in the same wireless LAN, but somebody tries to join.
Room is full.
Room is full, so somebody,
It's full.
yes, it's only for one person.
you-
So one other person probably tried to get in. Is anybody, okay, let's just do it again, but
Oops.
so I do it again, and now only the person who wants to connect can use this. So who wants to connect? Who has the latest Firefox Chrome? You have. Okay, then. Actually, I just saw a message from this. I'm not sure. Oh.
Yeah, Firefox 22.
Yeah, try it. Yeah, try it. So it might work actually. So anyway, I mean, this is the way how I do it. I basically generate a URL, and then I just send this URL out of band to whoever I want to connect to. And there's only one other person who can join. You know, this service only allows one person. I mean, there's lots of other sites that offer something like multi-channel support. But so, sorry?
Could you show like the last piece of the URL? So,
It doesn't work really in all. Nothing?
I can see myself, which is...
You can see yourself, but that's not. Now it's connecting. Now it's actually trying to get us to connect directly. I'm not really sure how good it is at.
I can see you now.
You can see me now already,
Yeah, I can hear you. Well,
but you can see me. I mean, it's a bidirectional UDP connection. Okay, that's good.
So the other direction doesn't really work.
It doesn't.
My
Yes.
Wi-Fi is crap, so
Yes, but it also depends on like. I mean, in principle, WebRTC is meant to connect through multiple firewalls even.
Oh.
But yes, but it's. I mean,
How does it do the negotiation between the clients? Like, you have to connect there, and how do they negotiate the connection?
it's done by. Basically, we both meet at that URL.
Yep.
That URL knows what is our outbound IP address, right?
Yeah.
Because it sees it. I mean, it just sees, the packet comes from there.
Yeah.
Then it basically tells, okay, now and through that you basically, no, and then it does a UDP connection. A UDP connection. And that means that the two browsers, through the mediator, can get to know each other's UDP external-facing firewall address. Because when I do UDP, basically I go through some random port on the firewall, 57,000 something, and when something comes to that port, it gets mapped back to the client behind the firewall, like network address translation.
Yeah.
And this information, this IP address plus port number, is exchanged between the two browsers, and then the browsers actually use this address UDP thing to connect directly to each other.
Okay.
And it depends slightly on firewall configurations, so you can actually block UDP, for example. And some firewalls actually do that, but I've often found that they don't do it, I mean, which is fine, because...
Doesn't Skype, for example, also do this?
Yes, exactly. But there are some firewalls who try to prevent Skype from doing that. And then it won't also work here. Why it doesn't work now, I don't know. I mean,
But it works for me.
it works for you, yeah, so it's one directional. Yes.
So if there maybe that your firewall set up the way that that allow the other side.
I mean, it might be a very special case actually if both people are really behind the same firewall. I mean, if they are basically in the same network.
He has got the firewall on his laptop
Now
because
it's pretty-
No, not on your laptop, but basically, I mean, if I don't really know, I mean, if, you know, usually the situation is that you are in two distinctive networks and you have two distinctive firewalls.
Yeah, so try
And
to-
so basically I could try to use my phone to get a data connection and then maybe it just works. Because we are trying to, I mean, the best thing we could possibly do is actually have a direct connection between his laptop and mine in this wireless network. We don't need any firewall.
yes.
We could just, you know, but I don't think it's clever enough to get down to this level.
But it could be, right?
It could, I think so, yes. I mean, somehow it could, I mean, maybe you could just transfer your MAC address, basically,
I
and
don't
if...
think so, because when you, well, maybe it can do that, but it is kind of hard, because maybe it may happen that you are on your internal networks in both places have, for example, it's the same IP, network IP, the networks have the same IP address and the same submask.
Mhm.
So that will be tricky to implement.
Right.
Should we do broadcast?
Yeah.
Can you try, Balthasar, can you try that URL?
To use our
So what's the
ARP to find whether someone has the same method. But like that's introducing another thing, that's introducing more complexity than maybe actually. It's like another thing that may fail.
True, true.
I mean, on the WebRTC side, they have a more detailed explanation of how it works in relation. The protocol that does this... okay. So now it's... we're good.
I share no audio, but if you can...
Okay, channel audio. Yes, but I've had this effect actually that it hangs. I've had that as well at some point.
But now it still goes out, right?
Yes, it might... Can you see me still?
Yeah. And
Yeah, so it seems like the other direction is somewhat problematical, why ever, I don't know. But it's also, I mean, the browser, I mean, they're still basically improving this this support of establishing the connections. And I've tried it now in 3 occasions, and 2 out of those worked very well, and the last one was problematic, basically. So it's not yet a safe bet. You can just, you know, always do it or so. But it's it worked, for example, between me and somebody in Berlin very nicely, and also there might be better implementations of the server. I mean, this is just I think it's from the team from Mozilla and Chrome. They actually implemented this AppSpot app, but there's also other endpoints you can use to meet, and it's basically, I know at least there is a Node.js implementation. Okay.
Changed.
Things have changed. There's a Node.js implementation of WebRTC that basically implements this mediation part. It's not a big library. It's like a relatively small thing, and then you run this, and then you use this, and then you map this into your web application, and then browsers can use this to actually meet. So it's kind of simple. You can basically embed it in any kind of web server. It's nothing much special. And how you actually allow browsers to meet there, like in terms of authorization and so on, is up to you. I mean, I'm kind of happy to just generate a random URL and send that around. But What I'm missing, basically, what I'm missing is some support for multi-people chats, which is obviously a bit more interesting. I mean, it's more interesting multi-peer things because that's a nice capture of you.
Yeah,
No?
I tried to change the opacity of the web page, which leads to like these really weird effects. Like I can
Wow.
see myself here. Yeah.
I see. Okay. It works a bit. Seems to have some kind of, but that might actually also be the wireless network here. I mean, in any case, the what was I going to say? Right, I think that's something very interesting. I don't really know how this is doable currently. I think within the web page, I mean, this is, if you look at the WebRTC page, I think it's basically a very simple thing what you need in terms of JavaScript, because it's really a browser API. It's not like you have a huge library there. It's really just, a call into the new W3C standard. It's kind of like a couple of lines of code. And you can make multiple connections. So you can basically not only be connected to one browser, but also to the next one. So it should be possible actually to have a multi-peer session. Or even one where you basically, if you have 5 people, basically you could connect to 2 or 3 of them, and everybody does, and then you can see which of the connections work and route the data accordingly. I'm just not sure how easy it is currently to implement that. But all these companies I mentioned, they are actually doing multi-user chat rooms. So, and they use WebRTC, so it's apparently possible. Okay, so I think that's WebRTC.
Yeah, and it supports encryption, right?
Yeah, that I don't really know. I mean,
Will.
yes, it will. But if it does currently, we have to check. I don't really know.
Yeah, probably it may support it. The way that it will support it is like you have an SSL certificate on the server, and you've got both connections to the users encrypted, so you can generate the same key and send it back to the users, and then they can use the key because it's safe.
Yes, yes. So that's, for example, Peer CDN is a project that does, that basically tries to build a CDN out of browsers. And P is also, let's see if I find that. I don't know if, let's see, I'm not sure if, I mean, finding P is kind of hard.
Great project name.
Yes. Okay, let's use peer to. Oh.
What was it? Spam?
Yes. That would be a good hidden secret to call it spam. I mean.
No, that's spam.
Span, yes, okay. Peer-to-peer, JavaScript, P, WebRTC maybe, or something like this. It's really PeerGS was also one. There's really a number of JavaScript projects based on WebRTC already. Peer here. Does this one? That's actually a good list, by the way.
Back to the encryption part, if it works the way I described, then you have to trust the server because it is used to generate the key.
Mm-hmm.
And it knows the key because it has to send it
Yes,
to
yes, yes.
both of the clients.
Sure. But I mean, if you as a client actually send your public key,
Yeah, it may work that way.
that's, I mean, if any browser basically just generates a public key, a random general, I mean, basically even for the session, not just, and then you send this and the others get it, then you basically do the data connection using this, and you know which browser you are addressing, so you can use that particular public key for encryption.
Yeah,
And then all the things are basically encrypted, and only the node with the...
there's one problem with that. The problem is that the public key encryption isn't really that fast. Actually, when you have a lot of data to encrypt.
Yes, I mean in this WebRTC connection that we had between my place and the guy in Berlin, we had something like and it was a good picture. It was something I mean high resolution kind of. It was 200 kilobytes per second, and I would expect that that's possible. I mean,
Yeah, I think
that's not really a big deal to have 200 kilobytes per second in a native API. I mean, if you do it in JavaScript, I don't know, but if you do it natively, like in C or C++, that
So you maybe can use the public key stuff only for setting something
yeah,
up.
that's true.
And then switch to AES, that's
Exactly.
supported in hardware
Right,
now in
right.
the CPU, so
Yes.
there'll be no performance problem.
Right.
We use it even to write to disk. So if it would be too slow, we wouldn't use it.
Yeah, that's true. Usually you can use public key encryption schemes to set up synchronous secrets, symmetric secrets, and then use this on both ends. That's much easier.
that's the same way that SSH works,
Mhm.
right?
Yes. So, and I mean, I guess that the browsers are going to learn this natively through this web crypto API. So, it shouldn't be something that you need to bother much then from the application level, basically. I still don't know how they're currently doing this. Yes.
Shall we maybe talk a bit about email, because we
Yes.
already developed the idea a little bit.
Yes. Let's do that.
It's the pink stuff at the bottom.
Here.
Yeah, a little
Pink?
upwards.
So.
Maybe you should turn the line numbers back. Shift. Content. Perfect.
Okay, and scroll one line up maybe. Yeah, right.
Ah, right.
So the idea was how to make it easy for email users to use GPG.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are two problems. You have to generate your own key pair, but that can be somehow automated maybe with good defaults. And the other key is distributing keys. And the idea was to just add something to the signature into the email all the time, basically, like on your business card, and maybe use a URL-like format that says, okay, it's PGP standard, and the mail address is this one, and the key ID of the GPG key is that one.
Mm-hmm.
So the software could go to the key server, fetch the key, then you have the public key of that user. You can use it to encrypt stuff to him and add it to your local key ring somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the problem with this is there is no trust in this system, because it could be all fake. But the worst
Yes.
thing that could happen is you could encrypt something to that guy using a wrong key, and he could not read it.
Yes. And that should be detectable. I mean, basically, the other guy will get back to you or just be very irritated.
Only a man-in-the-middle attack maybe is a problem with that
Yes.
case, but it would be better than everything in plain text like now.
Exactly.
And if you remember the key IDs, and if you store them locally somehow, you can maybe even find out if something suddenly changes.
Yes.
Something like with SSH, right? You've got the known hosts.
Yes, and once you have it, and then you use it again and again and again, and then it changes suddenly, you basically notice it. And
And somehow, if someone wants to get in the middle, he would somehow have to know when you do it, or be always watching and always being.
yes,
in the
and you need
middle.
to basically intercept it, even if I'm in Italy accessing the server, or I'm at home and so on. So you need to be quite powerful to always intercept this, and constantly, because you only need to not do it once, and then suddenly it becomes strange. You know.
So if you are quicker than the other side.
Did everybody actually get the idea of what the idea of this this little thing here is? The idea is that you distribute your public key information, the basic public key reference, with every mail, just in the signature, but in a machine-readable format, so that email clients like MUD or Thunderbird can, through a little plugin, parse out this information so that they can correlate the mail address with the public GPG key information and just store it locally. Which means when Thomas sends me a mail and I don't have his public key currently, I don't, no clue, basically, he sends me a mail, my mail client realizes this line and stores it, and later on I want to send a mail, so my mail client says, oh, I know this, looks it up because it has the key ID, and encrypts it. And it's completely transparent. It only guards against passive attacks at that point, because if somebody was sitting in between and basically faking the keys to both sides, he could basically cheat us.
Yes.
But it guards very well against passive attacks already.
So you would fetch the key at the moment you write the email to me.
That's kind of the...
Maybe a bit better than immediately.
I don't know. What I actually think is, I wouldn't mind if that format also had the possibility to actually have a full URL here. Because,
So,
yes, just some. If I, for example, an example of a signature would be, just write it in here.
It is an email signature. Like you should put it in an email signature.
It could be something.
Yeah, email signature, right.
And so why using the signature when you can have a custom header?
Yeah, that's a question. Why not a header actually?
What?
Header.
Custom header in an email. You can have
X minus
dash, whatever.
PGP and
Yeah, you could immediately use it because every email client can have some sort of signature where you usually put your name and with reason and whatever.
Yes.
Why not
A special header needs more software changes.
yes.
And why not supporting both?
Yes, that's, I think, a good idea.
Yeah.
The idea to... One thing more. What I would like to have is to basically also be able to somehow specify, so the format should be maybe slightly more generic there. I want to say basically you can get the key here.
I've got that in my email.
Yes.
You can go to the Matt White guy, and there is a way how to do it. There's a my underscore ADR. No, that's not that the thing in config in Mac how to do it. But you should Google Matt wiki, and there is I think it's not here. Like there is.
Yes, my header string. Sure, no, sure.
Like for how to, when you Google Matt and GPG, there's something like this. I think that's that link. And you should scroll a bit. It's on the bottom. Right?
And then my header
Yep.
here.
So
Here.
this is wrong.
Right.
That doesn't work. To use it, you should use my underscore HDR and then space instead the
Okay.
equal sign, and then you put the header without quotes.
So this is an established standard that way?
I don't think so, but this is the way I added it to my config. So
Yes. Yes, so that would be interesting to check if there's actually something of a convention, at least, even if it's not a standard,
yeah.
to use
we
that.
can add another header like the XPGP key ID, and then
Yes.
we put the ID.
A URL is also nice because it could, if you have a key ID, I guess there's a canonical way to specify a URL that goes to the PGP servers, right?
You could query key cell, right?
How are they called? HKP something?
PGP, MIT, edu, or something.
The question is if I can find some if I have a URL basically here where I can just point to it directly.
Yeah, I've just tried.
That should be possible, I hope, because
So
you should be able to give a URL actually.
Yeah, it's a bit longer.
Yes.
Is the public key really long method of characters?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it's rather long.
4 kilobytes or without encoding it. So it's actually better when it's actually bigger when you encode it to send it in
So
an
it's
email.
all data to be in there.
URL is of course better if you have self-hosted the stuff. And you can say PGP MIT edu and search equals key ID.
Okay.
You can also
You
get
Yes.
just
from
put that
there.
equal sign.
Sorry?
Check that, and that works without the equal sign. You just put Mike HDR and then the header.
Yes. Something like this. Oops. Why am I
something
sometimes?
like that. And then and then goes the
Yes.
ID.
So basically, yes.
I have to go, but I'm wondering with the results of this discussion, do you put on the Etherpad or did it send to mailing list? Or?
I mean, this should be basically converted to the GitHub page, I would say.
Excellent.
And did you send a mail to? That's the most important, maybe. Did you send a mail here? You just need to send one mail, and then you get you need to confirm, and then you're basically getting mails.
And the first mail you send won't be seen by anybody. Just
Correct.
it's just
Yes.
seen by
The first is going to be dropped, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
See you.
See you later.
See you later.
You have 5 minutes left.
Okay. Isn't but we have a continuous session, no?
Sorry?
I thought we had. I mean, for me, it's actually also fine. We don't need recording. We can just continue a bit like this. So you don't need to
stay.
stay.
The spring introduction.
And that is now.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I see.
But if I'm not wrong, there's no way by seeing that either and then downloading the key to verify the fingerprint. So it shouldn't be the short ID, it should be the full fingerprint, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it should probably be. I mean, it shouldn't be the full key, but at least enough that it really is kind of unique, right?
Okay.
But that's something. I mean, that should be defined. And I think the challenge here is to find something and maybe talk to some mud GPG people and so on, because it should be something like a convention that is used eventually also from Thunderbird, Enigmail, and so on. So you can actually easily configure your stuff to have that, so that it becomes very convenient for many people. What I find important about the idea to also have it in the header is that this way the MTA, the mail transport agent, if you're running this yourself, like Postfix or something, actually also can read this information.
More specific, more easy, not fuzzy.
Yes, no, I mean, if it's in the mail, it's encrypted. You won't see it.
Yeah, the headers are not.
The MTA cannot see what is in the mail. It can only look at the headers. As far as I understand, the headers are not going to be encrypted, right?
I'm not sure about it.
I don't think the headers are encrypted,
We can
usually.
check it.
Usually if you get a mail, you basically get the mail, and then you have a MIME thing that basically encrypts that part. And that means the headers are not encrypted, and that means that the MTA can actually see that public key, and it could also store it.
Yeah, the headers are encrypted in the HTTPS. That's totally different.
Yes. Yes, exactly. In HTTPS it's different because you make an SSL connection, and only then do you tell about the path and do all the metadata thing. And
Yeah, so when you've got it in your signature, it's kind of useless. Like it's encrypted.
yes, if it's inside the mail.
Yeah.
No. You only get an encrypted mail, and you're supposed to decrypt it. I mean, you are supposed to actually be able to decrypt it, and then you see it.
Yeah.
I mean, not you see it, but your email client actually.
Yeah, and when it's encrypted for you, you've got the key to
This thing is
decrypt it.
mainly for setting up, not for later if you really use it.
Yes, but also, I mean, an email client, a plugin actually that reads this, it should continuously read in these keys that are provided, and even even record the number of times that it already seen it. And it's interesting to know that for the past year, the key has been transmitted like this forever, and now it's suddenly changing. I mean, I can give a much more interesting message like, oh, this has been used for 1 year in 27 conversations. Now it's suddenly a different key.
Yeah, but that may happen when the key expires.
Yeah, okay. I mean, then you have to reset up. Yes. I mean, if the key expires, you could basically send a mail with the new key already.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yes. I mean, there's many things, but I mean, these setups, we need to stop now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean these, but like I said, I mean maybe let's just. I'm going to be at the Pi party thing, and I'm happy to continue some discussions there. But I think this is a very concrete thing to actually go for, to have a nice email setup that is not so, that helps against passive attacks basically, and it's not really, I think it's still kind of convenient. The crypto people are always very nervous when something gets convenient, but I don't really get the point here because it's clearly better than...
We should put some sort of disclaimer on top
Yeah,
of this.
sure.
That
It's
probably
only against
just
passive
to be
attacks.
better than now,
Yes,
and it's not completely
yes.
whatever secure. And so on.
I mean, the thing is that you still have the possibility to do something, basically, thank you. Do something out of band. I mean, you can always check the feeds via telephone call, right?